Thank you very much. It is an honor to be here, and I'm so grateful. There's nowhere else I would rather be. Taking a look at this main slide, you'll see here, I chose try for this topic because of how important this is for me. This is a more personal journey. Usually my talks, it's kind of on the peripheral here and I can speak about it. This is coming straight from my heart. So try, and some of you will be familiar with this, many of you will be, the eternal law of self-evolution. The voice of compassion up there in the corner, that's the name of my brand that I use when I voice these teachings online, because it's not about me. It's just simply to be a voice for the ancient wisdom. So I'm hitting my little button. Let's click. There we go. Okay. We're going to cover a few things here. Try from the Mahatma letters. That was where the inspiration comes from, the importance of try. Why should we try? How does this trying help? How does this help our earth? How does this help each other? How does this help us? The power of thought and practical application. Try, try, try. So I'm going to start here in the beginning. This is going to be more informative. This is the research coming from Theosophy Wiki. I really want to thank them for what they've done putting this together. I'd like to present this to you. Many of you have seen this. I think some of you have been to the British Library and seen for yourself. I'm sure a few of you have. If you have seen the Mahatma letters in person or even online, it is a breathtaking experience to see them in person. Here they are. And when I went there, I was so excited. I wanted to take photos, but they didn't allow me to take photos. But I remember as I said, I don't know. I just asked for a few numbers. They brought out a big stack of them. And as I went through them, there were several of these tries that jumped out at me. And as I left the building after a few hours with them, I just thought that try, it was this capitalized, underlined try it was so big for me. So taking a look at this, I want to move forward and let's take a look here. In a letter to AP Senate, Katumi has written, we have one word for all aspirants. Try, try, try. At all events, try. Nothing was ever lost by trying. We have our own peculiar modes of expression, and what lies behind the fence of words is even more important than what you read. But still, try, try. So powerful, so powerful. In the Mahatma letters to AP Senate, there's AP. I have ran him through a thing to pixelate him and bring him forward a little bit. I've added some color to his face. I love being able to see him like that. So in the Mahatma letters to AP Senate, in letter number 111, Katumi has written, you know our motto, and that its practical application has erased the word impossible from the occultist vocabulary. If he wearies not of trying, he may discover that most noble of all facts, his true self. That's what we're trying for, but he will have to penetrate midi strata before he comes to it. So try your true self. That's the whole point of these teachings. Through the summer months of 1875, Colonel Alcott began to receive various letters from Master Serapis, who was known for his simple urging, just try, and a message from Serapis transmitted by Master Hilarion closes with the words, 3 of them in a row, try, try, try. What are they saying? What are they saying when they're saying try? I really want you to try, absorb whatever it means to you, whatever this try means to you. I know when I hear it, how I feel. I'd like to convey that with you. This is Serapis's signature that we're looking at in the graphic. And I'm clicking the button. There we go. I didn't want to say anything over that just because I thought that was really a wonderful thing to be able to see her animated. She needs no introduction. I don't even need to put her initials on this screen. You know who this is. So here she is. This is, again, run through the filters to be able to bring her to life a little bit. I thought that was so wonderful to be able to see that, to see her eyes closed, see her looking around, writing down some of the most important texts of the last few hundred years. Blavatsky comes in and she says, with each morning's awakening, try to live through the day in harmony with the higher self. Try is the battle cry taught by the teachers to each pupil. Naught else is expected of you. Only one who does his best is all that can be asked. All you can do is just do your best. That's it. And here she is saying it so beautifully. So what are we doing our best at? Oh my living gosh, I am so sorry. Why is that happening? Oh man. Okay. All right, let's see if this works. There we go. Okay. Moving forward to why we are trying. This is a paraphrased metaphor. This is from the work of Pamela Cribb and Garrett Gillen, and it is called The Pearl. Now, the pearl is, imagine you're a deep sea diver, okay? The pearl, and try, think about that. Time and again, you dive into the ocean to find this particular pearl, which everyone talks about, but no one has actually seen. Diving down into the ocean full of perils, since you can get lost, you can lose your breath, you can die down there, but still you persist in search of this pearl. Still you try time and again, for you are determined and inspired. But are you insane? No, you are the explorers of the new. The secret of this pearl, the secret is in the process of finding this pearl. You are creating it. You are becoming it. I thought this was a fantastic metaphor to describe why it is we're trying with these amazing, important, extremely, there's nothing more important to do. These teachings are instructions for humanity. These are here for us to do just that, to put them into application. The key word is try. This is an email from Eddie. And when I told him about this talk, he wrote and summed it up brilliantly. The key word is try, okay? Wisdom puts the emphasis on the process. Eddie writes, we are not judged by the results, like the pearl, looking for the actual pearl. We're judged by the efforts, the motive and sincere efforts, Eddie writes. Unlike the mainstream world, which emphasizes results, he writes, by any means, fair or foul, the wisdom puts the emphasis on the process, on the action, but indifference to the results or the fruits of that. So it's your action and your intent, your heart. The key word is to try, always coming through, always to try. Never give up. There he is, Winston Churchill, coming in and validating this. Never, ever give up. Success is going from failure to failure to failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. And Blavatsky also says the same, that's the way for, or sorry, hang on one second. She also says the same, be not discouraged, but try, ever keep trying. 20 failures are not irremediable enough if followed by as many undaunted struggles upwards. You can keep trying. So here they are all coming, the wisdom coming through, the masters coming through, Blavatsky, everyone saying, try and never give up. But is it insanity? But that's the way for people to grow into adepts, Alcott says. He says, try is the first and the last and eternal law of self-evolution. You can fail 5,500 times if you must. Keep trying, try on by ever, and you will succeed. At the end, I cannot, never built a man or a planet. So again, thank you to Theosophy Wiki for their compilation and putting this together. If you wish to see more of the pictures of the letters, you can visit there. They're fantastic. Why do we try then? Why this try? Why is this embedded in the teachings? Why are they saying this? What does this mean? Why should we try for self-transformation? It is not only from our own growth. It's not just for us to evolve or to become, I don't know, intellectual or get a PhD. It's not about that. It's about our transformation, our transmutation, if you will, because we are not separate. This is not about self-importance. We are inextricably interconnected. And what we do, everything that we do affects everything. That's the thing. We always hear everything is one. We are all one, but we kind of dismiss that. If we understood that every movement, every thought, everything that we do, every action, every word, we affect everything, everything. Man is the universe in miniature. It's everything. So something that is a driving force in me, this was huge when I began my journey, 14 years ago. This has almost led me to madness. It's true. These quotes I'm going to be showing you. In the early days, the very first reading of The Voice of the Silence, several lines have stuck out, and they've like reverberated inside my skull and my heart. And they're the reason that I'm here at this talk. They're the reason that I do the work I do online. It is this: hast thou attuned thy being to humanity's great pain, O candidate for light? And can there be bliss when all that lives must suffer? Shalt thou be saved and hear the whole world cry? Is that the reason for our enlightenment? So we can float off into a cloud somewhere and be important and quiet and have peace and happy memories while the rest of all that lives on planet Earth is still in so much pain? Absolutely not. We have a gigantic responsibility. We must try. Again, reiterating the battle cry of every dedicated student. Remember, try is the first, last, and eternal law of self-evolution. So what is the benefit of personal enlightenment? I'm just going to ask that while I take a sip of water. Hang on one second. What is the benefit? What do people say? Oh, I'm enlightened. Oh, I want to be enlightened. What for? Is it so what you can have a special circumstance so you're rescued out of this mire of Mialba, of all of this blood and tears and war and horror? You get to go, but no one else gets to. It doesn't make any sense. So we can have a mystical experience. Some people want to have a psychic experience. Oh, I'm desperate to study these teachings so I can, I don't know, see the future, my future, so I can have fame and wealth and status. That's not what enlightenment's for, in my understanding. And I can only share from my understanding. It's not about that. It is about the connection to the whole. We cannot move on to become enlightened and not use it for good, to ease the unnecessary suffering of all beings. So let not the fierce sun dry, again from the voice of the silence. Let not the fierce sun dry one tear of pain before thyself has wiped it from the sufferer's eye. I know that you hear this. That's why you're hearing this talk. I know you understand this. So that's why we need to work together. But let each burning human teardrop on thy heart, and there remain, nor ever brush it off until the pain that caused it is removed. So that's the effect and the cause there of suffering of all beings on our planet. That's why we try. There is no other reason for these teachings other than to put them into application. It is this very reason. And so we have a monumental responsibility to serve. And that's we have study, meditation, service, but service, it doesn't have to be complicated. Through the application on yourself, which is really all you can do. There is service outside. We'll talk about that in a moment, but service, study, application, meditation. Okay, the most important thing there is application. Through application, self-application is when we actually make the difference. That's all we have control over: ourselves, our thoughts, and our actions. At every moment of our days, we have a chance to go inward and proactively link and act with the universal wisdom by applying divine instructions for living. Each one of these texts that speak to you, each one of these things that we study, we talk about in these weekly talks, each one of them, there are instructions there for us to actually become them. We move from becoming to being. We move to beingness. We are the teachings. Theosophy is based on facts, not faith, and offers solutions on ways how to navigate through everything here on Earth. Everything is in there that we could possibly need. There is a much bigger picture, and it explains that, which helps us to calm down. It's not so serious. Life is but a day, and it's a cycle. We have day to night. You have the waves coming in, waves going out, sun going up, sun going down. Everything is cyclical. If we could understand there's a much bigger picture, we would calm down. So try and become. This is Blavatsky saying this: try and become. This is from her collected writings to fervent and persevering candidates of the above science. I have to offer one word of advice. She's got 3 words here: try and become. And that does not mean, I don't know, recruiting people for a society or a church. It doesn't mean anything external outside of you. I cannot stress this enough. The work that we need to do is inside of us, and it is in the very day and the very moment of now. As we move forward, I wanted to show you this. This is a beautiful little cover. This is from the cover of the books that were published by the Philons in 1889. This is the 3 Sevens, and you can see this gorgeous picture here, try. And then you see Egypt there, and looking up, you see that try. So Serapis, Master Serapis to Colonel Olcott says, for he who hopes to solve in time the great problems of the macrocosmic world, our world down here in the physical world, and conquer face to face the dweller within, taking thus by violence the threshold on which lie buried nature's most mysterious secrets, must try first the energy of his willpower, the physical will, the intellectual will, the academic will, the you will, the earthly self will, that will, the indomitable resolution to succeed. You're here to work, you're here to apply them. If you recognize these teachings and they resonate with you, that's enough. Then it's time to try. And you just keep going. You go within, you apply what you read in little tiny chunks. It doesn't have to be perfect. No one is perfect. No one on earth is perfect. You're here. This resonates with you. Listen, okay? And bringing out to light all the hidden mental faculties of his Atma and highest intelligence. Get at the problems of man's nature and solve first the mysteries of his heart. Know thyself, man, know thyself. This is ancient truth coming through. Fantastic collection. Nothing is more important to do. Try. So how does our trying help others? I mean, honestly, how does our trying, because we're not, interacting with the people on the other side of the planet, how does our trying help everybody else? Remember, everything is connected. Most of us are just trying to survive. We're just trying to survive, got to get food, have a job, have a place to live. And all of us are simply trying to avoid pain, and we're trying to seek pleasure. And that is the human condition. And it's true. If it feels good, then I'm going to keep going back for that. And I definitely don't want that to happen because that was awful. But we have to remember, again, the cycles in the teachings, brilliantly explained, the cycles. Everything is cyclical. Everything is cyclical. Pain, pleasure, expecting it to stay a certain way is what causes our madness. And it's ridiculous. It causes more suffering. It's always going to change. Like the tides coming in and going out, you have a wave of goodness. Things are good. That's great. Love it. It's going to go out. A tide of drama and pain and suffering will come. Might not be big, but it will come, but it'll go out as well. Everything is interconnected. Everything we are each other. We are everything. So what we do in our personal lives affects the whole. That's important to know. You are doing something. This is a very important job that we have. And we have self-control and self-transformation. And this is transmutation. Literally, we become a different version of ourselves. So we have an ability to make a difference on planet Earth. So as we move forward in his esoteric teachings, I love it when I see theosophical writers actually put it into application. Yes, the sages through the ages said all this stuff, but why? Why did they say it? And how can I use it? Gottfried de Purucker wrote down in his esoteric teachings, he's given us some mental attitudes we can activate through the theosophical teachings. How do we activate? He's putting it into application here. I love this. George Arundel did as well, but I didn't have time to put a lot of his stuff in the talk. I wanted to keep it under the hour. He writes, we cannot think, we cannot live without influencing others. Every sincere effort from the heart to help others will have its effect. Every effort of universal and interpersonal, unconditional love. There's a difference between love. A lot of people hear the word love. Sorry to interrupt myself here, but love obviously is not just romantic. You know that. That's what they think of. Majority of humans on this planet think of love as I give to this person, they give back to me. It's like a sexual or love. It's a romantic love. Unconditional love for all beings and everything, unconditional love. That's what he's speaking about. Every effort of universal and impersonal, he calls it impersonal love, has a corresponding effect on others. What we send of inspirational thoughts will always be picked up by like-minded people from the sphere of thought. Gottfried also writes that self-control means to be a master of your thoughts and actions. They're going to give you the information on how to apply this. It's in your thoughts and your actions and your emotions and your reactions. In your thoughts and actions, a continuous vigilance of which quality of thoughts you allow and which you do not. This is true meditation. It's not just seated meditation. We're going to talk about that in a moment. This is true meditation of monitoring your thoughts and finding that voice of the silence in everyday life, in the chaos of everyday life. Contemplation of monitoring your thoughts by constantly applying the rules of, he's explained it pretty well here, so I'm sharing these with you. Never retaliate. Never retaliate. You don't need to do that. Never justify. You don't have to justify yourself. Learn to forgive and let it go. Learn to love unconditionally. Unconditional, that means all beings. It means even people that you can't stand, people that have really hurt you. You are them, they are you. Unconditional love. Don't keep brooding over real or imaginary injustice. Just don't. Let it go. Let it go. So he explains beautifully there, because each and every one of us is a peacemaker. We have a responsibility. We apply these rules. We become the best person that we can. We put the teachings into action. We become them. We be, and we become peacemakers on our planet. That is our job. That's why we're here. So self-control means to be a master of your thoughts. I wanted to show this, that everybody thinks meditation needs to be quiet and you have to have, this mental orgasm and it has to be this amazing thing and it's so great. That's good if you can meditate a couple times a day. It's great, good. But there is a waking meditation, a walking meditation, a life meditation, where you can apply the same theories that happen in meditation, and you can get between the agonizing, painful thoughts in your everyday life when you're behind the wheel. You're not zoning out, but you're actually monitoring your thoughts. There's more than just seated meditation. And here I'd like to mention this to you because I think you'll understand. I threw this in here because I don't know what else to call it. And I'm sure other of you have had this experience. I call it the falling away. That's just what I noticed it as. These things kept falling away, things that used to be very important to me and things that I used to think identified me as who I am, my individuality. They're falling away. The more I spend time with these teachings, I can see these things going past. It's weird. It's strange. It's like shedding a skin. It's like different incarnations as we change. I think any of the students on the path will experience this. And I'm mentioning this to you because I know you probably get it. Everything we are not, the more we apply these teachings, the things that we are not, they literally do fall away. And I wanted to say, if you're experiencing this right now, I get you, I feel you, I understand. It's the strangest thing, but it's, I would imagine, quite normal. I think it is normal because it's not going away. It's still here, and more that I thought, oh, this will never leave. This is always a part of me. That's who I am. And it goes. It's the strangest thing. So as we change and evolve here on Earth, and we are on this journey as students of the wisdom, as perennial philosophy, we are dedicated students of theosophy, the wisdom of the gods, this ancient truth, this timeless everything. We have the phoenix. And you see the phoenix, of course, coming out of the flames and the ashes of his own creation to be born again. This is so beautiful. I love this. Perhaps this is what is happening to some of us on this path. Doesn't mean that we're greater, better than anybody else. It just means you see this inner evolution as you apply and you try to become the teachings. And here I'm going to quote Eddie. This is from volume 2. I'm going to have to put on my glasses for this. Hang on a second. As we're looking at this picture of the phoenix, Eddie writes here, this is from volume 2 in chapter 5, Death is Transition, Time at the Door of Eternity. It is possible to have a spiritual rebirth in our present lifetime. In the mysteries, it was customary to refer to initiates as phoenixes, one who rises from the fire and ashes of his own making, or men who had been born again, for just as physical birth gives man consciousness in the physical world, so the neophyte, that's you, the neophyte, after the various degrees of initiation in the womb of the mysteries, was born into a consciousness of the spiritual world. You're all phoenixes. All of us are, but you can recognize this. You're like, whoop, it's gone. And you come out of the ashes, you come out and you come and you serve and you meditate and you study and you apply. Think and thinking. Try. The goal is indeed worth the effort. I know you know who said that. That is HPB. And I want you to look at the first three words there. Think and thinking. Try. The goal is indeed worth all the possible effort. Now here I'm thinking, okay, she's introducing her thought of try, but she's saying think and thinking. And I'm thinking, I get it. She's talking about the thoughts. Think and thinking, try. The goal is indeed worth all the possible effort. They've all talked about the thoughts. Catherine Tingley is coming up in this talk. All of them are talking about the thoughts. So that's where we have what's inside of us. That's what we are. Thoughts, mind, and consciousness. Our thoughts are where this work is mostly going to be taking place. Our actions as well, but the thoughts actually come before the actions. So we are the microcosm of the macrocosm of the universe in miniature. We hear that all the time. Our consciousness is not separate from the universal consciousness. Our thoughts are a part of the divine consciousness. We are not detached. And the suffering that takes place inside of our heads and our hearts, our mind, our thoughts, the power of thoughts. You listen to the near-death experiences come back, thousands upon thousands of them coming back now and sharing their experience that validate these teachings. They talk about the thoughts. This is where we have the ability to make these changes, to try to help create a better world for all. So Gottfried also, he explains here, do we realize that every human being is the thought of his own inner God, an imperfect reflection of that inner splendor, nevertheless a child of the thoughts of the divinity within? Even as the thoughts of evolving human beings are living entities, so what we create, there's the elementals there, they're living entities, the little embryo souls growing and moving forward on the pathway of evolutionary growth. Okay, we know about that. That's what our teachings teach us, not just for fairy tales, it's for application, okay? And he says on the importance of learning to control these thoughts. Once a thought has left the mind, it is impossible to withdraw the energy. Once it's gone, it's gone. It doesn't matter that no one heard what you were thinking. It doesn't matter. It was thought. That's creation. We're part of that universal mind. Our smaller minds are doing the same thing. So it is already an elemental being once it is thought, no matter what that thought is, beginning its upward journey. Still, though, if neutralizing thoughts are sent forth, immediately afterwards, thoughts of beauty or compassion or forgiveness or desire to help, of aspiration, then they coalesce and the effects of the evil ones are made harmless. And that is what Blavatsky talks about in The Voice of the Silence. And we have to remember that our thoughts, this is something I think a lot of people, I talk about this with my regular non-theosophical friends and they're like, oh, you're crazy. But it more and more is coming out. Look at YouTube. Our thoughts and our mental activities absolutely, positively, 100% affect the global mental atmosphere. I'll say that again. Our thoughts and our mental activities absolutely affect the global mental atmosphere. And this is an anonymous quote, and it's true. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. I remember when I first heard that, I thought, what does that mean? I don't understand. I don't get that. It's true. It's not external events. It's not outside happenings at all that cause our suffering. There can be an event, but it's our thoughts about those people, that situation, that thing, and the going on inside that causes the suffering. And I know this is a big thing. A lot of people are like, no, you don't understand. That person's just horrible to me and it's their fault. That's why I'm hurting. It's your thoughts. Take the ownership back. It's your thoughts. So we need to take a look and pay attention to this. Pain is also the usher of wisdom, and it is the shaper of the soul. So pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. We can change us, and then therefore we change the world. So we are not our thoughts. If we can observe them and we can hear them, then they are not us. They are part of us. They are energy forms. And it's talked about in our teachings. As a matter of fact, it was Atkinson writing as Ramacharaka that says, thoughts are living forces, choose them wisely. Everybody talks about it, but do we ever pay attention to it? Do we actually put it into application? We are not our thoughts. We're observers. Choose them wisely. They are energy forms and vibration. That's all that they are. And like everything else, we are energy as well. We are the consciousness that is aware of these energies coming through, and we can control our reactions to them showing up. We can let them play out and pass through. One of the most brilliant ways of understanding this is in a book called Letting Go by David Hawkins. Another one is The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. They explain brilliantly how to work with the power of thought, how they can come through. And instead of squishing them down and wanting them to go away or judging them, we allow them to play out. So say we have a painful thought that's coming through, somebody left us, there's no money in the bank, whatever. That painful thought comes through, you feel the feelings associated with it, whether it be fear or sadness or shame. You feel that feeling, feel the feeling without the judgment. You feel it, you breathe through it, you allow it to be, and I will be damned. Like a will-o'-the-wisp, they start to dissipate because I'm not fighting them. I'm not trying to judge them or squish them down. I let them play out, and they literally, it's will-o'-the-wisp. That's what comes to my mind because they're not there anymore. And so we have the ability to work with these things so much more if we would just pay attention, so much more. So by letting go, we have the power to change our thoughts, which creates a more peaceful world because we're more peaceful. And the mind, the lower self, oh my God, I know you know this, the ultimate battle, the great battle. I remember it was Mabel Collins talking about the great battle. And I was thinking, oh, the great battle, it's going to be like they said in church, it's going to be this big battle between good and evil up in the clouds, and we'll all be on the side. That's ridiculous. The great battle is between, it's in you. It's your higher and your lower self. That is the great battle. So one of the ways I like to look at it is you have this judgment, fear, worry, pride. It's the vices and the virtues. The vices and the virtues here, it's been around forever. We understand this. We've known this. This has been coming through, but I don't know if we play it out. We understand this is the lower self here, and here's the higher self there. So we have vices, pride, envy, anger, sloth, greed, gluttony, and lust. And the virtues, of course, we have chastity. Does not mean you need to be celibate. It just means reasonable, please. Reasonable, temperance, charity, diligence, patience, kindness, and humility. And students of theosophy will recognize that's the voice of the silence there. That's the voice of the silence. That is your higher self. That's the higher self. That's the lower self. They're always going to be battling because we think the voice of the lower self is us. We think that that is us. So from Unfolding Consciousness, again, I love that this is amazing. He's going to be speaking here not long from now, but he'll be in the Leeds Lodge doing a presentation on Unfolding Consciousness. It is a fantastic text exploring the living universe and the intelligent powers in nature and humans. 1,000 pages, but on Unfolding Consciousness, Volume 2, page 199, on universal mind. The higher self is identical and continuing in and through different lives. You get to keep your higher self. This goes along with you. Okay, that's the part, your permanent part. It is the permanent element, he writes, which runs like a thread through the different existences, which are strung like beads along its length. That's what reincarnates. The lower self, jealousy, anger, fear, pride, the earthly voices there, that lower self is temporary. That is the lower self, and that is a reflection of the body, which determines the events that occur in it. It is different from life to life, thank goodness. And there's the body is different from life to life. So the vices and the virtues, the great battle, we're right there in the middle of this. This is where we have the opportunity to make those changes and put the teachings into application if we would just try. So moving forward, we have I just read that, the higher and lower mind, Unfolding Consciousness, page 199, volume 2. Meditation applied throughout the day. This may sound strange, an all-day meditation practice. What that means is you have every opportunity. Say you're at the store and somebody's rude to you and you're twisted about it. You're upset about it all day. You go, that guy was a real jerk. He was. And you carry it with you throughout the day and you're like, oh, I did it. And the rest of your day is shot because you're thinking about how rude that person was to you. And you carry it through the day and you feel it's, again, what Godfrey de Purakker was talking about. Let go of that stuff. He's not even thinking about you. That guy at the store has forgotten about you. He's thinking about himself and going on with his life, but you've carried it home. You're bringing it to your family, your friends, you're not being able to pay attention, and you're obsessed about that. It's madness. This is how we operate. Somebody on the road, is going too slow. You lose your mind. Why? Why are you losing your mind? These everyday occurrences, I don't know, whatever it is that's bothering you, whatever that is, that's a chance. That's the tests they talk about in Light on the Path. Everything is an opportunity to put these teachings into practice so you can weed out the voice of the lower self, even during the day. As a matter of fact, I started to apply this because I was tired of suffering. I was tired of the drama and the heartache. So I started to apply this. And sometimes I have a hard time remembering what it was that I was upset about. That was a really big deal. I try to process it, go to the place in between and work on myself and just choose to let it go. It is what it is. The universe is an ever expanding universe. We live on a tiny little dot in the middle of it. Why would I think that I'm the general manager of that all of that needs to go my way? Otherwise, I'm going to be what? Sad, miserable, horrible? It's ridiculous. Life is going to happen, and it's my choice how I respond to it. And I'm much freer that way. I learned that through these teachings, and for that, I am so grateful. So difficulties, we have difficulties saying in our theosophical teachings, let me see if I'm still here, on pain and difficulties. Yes, difficulties. When things are difficult, when things are challenges, you have horrible things happening. That's when you're learning. Class is actually in session. The door is open, get in the classroom. That's your learning. You're learning when things are difficult. When things are really good and things seem to be going your way, you get a new job, you got some money, you go on holiday, whatever, you're resting. But guess what? It's cyclical. Our teachings talk about this. Everything is cyclical. When things are difficult, you're learning. When things are good, you get to rest. And I have to say, I was talking to Tim before the class, before this session, about one of the biggest painful things that happened in my life is getting sober almost 21 years ago and losing everything, absolutely everything, complete self-destruction, horror, homelessness, and near death. That was one of my biggest teachers. That was huge. That was absolute. I was learning and it was painful and it was at my own hands, my own self-destruction. I learned more from that experience and the ones to come. I thought, oh, I've gotten all that out of the way. There's never going to be anything that bad again, but there are big things that come, lessons come, and that's when you learn. If you realize it's cyclical, it's a lot easier. If you realize this is not the only show at the rodeo, you're going to be back, whether it be this planet or another one or another state of being. You don't end. This isn't forever. Everything, it's temporary and it's fine. It's just going to come and go. It's fine. And when things are good, we're resting. Catherine Tingley actually has a little thing on this. I love, love, love her. Catherine writes, from the path of the mystic, a pure, strong, unselfish thought beaming in the mind lifts the whole being to the heights of light. From this point can be discerned to a degree the sacredness of the moment and the day. She's talking about practical application here. When a disciple begins consciously to deepen and broaden his life according to the highest law of his being, he must remember that confusion of ideas behind which lies desire. And desire is the voice of the lower self. We will meet him at every step. The beaming thought as the watcher, the higher self, and the master, recognized as such, becomes the helping power. Now, the dramas of everyday life, she writes, I'm going to paraphrase this, start to lose their grip. Where there was doubt, there is finally self-respect. Our higher consciousness is awakened and heart begins to work together with mind. Heart and mind begin to work together. We join the light that helps to illuminate all of this darkness here on earth. That's why we're trying. It's practical application. It's not about trying anything else, trying to be of service, trying to meditate, trying to be more enlightened. Not about that. I mean, it can be, but the real trying to me is we have a job to do. We have a responsibility. It is the practical application of the theosophical principles in our everyday life. So think of something that's bothering you right now. Our mortgage went up. I mean, I can think about that. I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, there's a few things, but I try to let them go quicker. So I'm trying to think, I'm sure there's been dramas that I can pull up and oh, that's so horrible. No one knows how awful this is. This is awful. Whatever your challenge is right now, whatever comes to mind, if you're looking at this graphic and you want to play along, that's your classroom. There you go. That's your chance to get over yourself and transform. Apply the teachings. Remember what you've learned in your lessons, in your classes, in your studies, what the secret doctrine hits you right between the eyes. You're like, oh my God, I get it now. It's a much bigger picture. Okay, apply it. Whatever your challenge is right now. It could be a health thing, a health issue. You could be told you have 2 months to live. I would actually think, I understand. That's great. Death is a normal part of life and we're all going to die. so good. I mean, I get it now. The teachings have every single solitary solution within them if we would only apply them. So the ageless wisdom, the perennial philosophy has an answer for everything. But simply reading or listening to it will not do. Hey, I would like to think that. I'd like to think, oh, well, I've read it, so that's good. And off I go about my merry way to have chaos, whatever it is that I'm doing. You have to apply it and live it is what makes the difference. And that is their true purpose, to try to become the teachings. Let us focus our concentration on the practice and not just the theory. Oh my God, not just the theory, but the practice. I hit the button, sorry. The truth from the ancient texts, when they are recognized, read, digested, and meditated upon, and put into selfless, unconditional, loving action, colossal changes begin to happen in your life. One of them that I've noticed, the more that I try, I will notice also, I'll go back to a book. I'll go back to Voice of the Silence or Secret Doctrine, and I haven't read the Secret Doctrine in its entirety. I don't know if anybody actually can and digest it, but in the chunks that I've revisited, a quote will come out of there and I'm like, this is completely different. This quote is completely different. It's telling me something completely different. I know that I didn't read this and I've read this a million times. This is the Voice of the Silence. I read it and something different happens. It's like a little magic box. It's weird, but the more you apply, the more you transform, colossal changes begin to take place. You evolve. That's what you're trying to do. You evolve because you're evolving for the benefit of all. So our deeper understanding gets bigger. We have literally lifetimes of work to do right here, right now. So this slide is your mission. A lot of people think that their mission is supposed to be, they're going to be rich and famous. They're going to be well known and have lots of money, and they're going to be, starting this whole new Amazon. They're going to start Amazon, or I don't know, be in a movie. No. Your mission, see the little red thingy right there, the little tack, it's right where you are. It's right with the people that are starring in your life right now. I know it doesn't sound very exotic, but each and every one of us is extremely important. We have an important role. We're all different colors, different warps and wefts in this tapestry of life. There's no one more important than you, no one. And your mission is right where you are. So it is your husband, it is your son, your wife, your daughter, your neighbor, your boss, your subordinates. It's them. That's what your mission is. It's right where you are. And I didn't understand that for a long time. I thought, oh, all these people, they say, oh, your mission, your purpose. It's you, it's life, it's now, it's what's going on inside of you. There has never been a more sacred time or place than where you are right now. So coming up here, karma. Okay, karma. Our teachings talk about reincarnation. They explain in great detail this ultimate law of balance, of equilibrium. Karma, as you do, so shall you reap, has been said by all the sages. All of them have said that. But we go, oh yeah, they're just saying that to be, you might wanna. That's not what they're saying. What they're saying is, as you do, you will experience everything you cause or even think about another human being. You will experience what that felt like. It is a law of balance. It's not so much tit for tat. It's not that equal, but it's balance. And look at our planet. What if each and every human being on this planet understood that as they do, don't treat anybody else like you wouldn't want to be treated. Doesn't mean just you might not want to. It means don't do it. It is an absolute fact. It is the immutable law of equilibrium. It is karma in our teachings. Look at that. Look at that. This is the ultimate peacekeeper. If we would only understand. And that's one of the reasons why I try really hard to share this stuff with folks, because maybe they might resonate with them. And the more that understand, it's not about any organization or anything. It's about understanding. So study, hang on one second, study, application, meditation, and service. That's the most important thing there. Application, I've capitalized that, because study, yes, you're gaining new information when you visit the text, or you revisit the text, you're going to get new information. Meditation, a quiet space where you can calm the mind, but you can also apply those same techniques in everyday waking life. And service. So service doesn't have to mean working at your soup kitchen. It doesn't have to mean that, or doing something where you're actually on site treating the effect. You can also treat the cause by sharing the teachings, however you want to. I mean, if you are in the Theosophical Society, what is your skill? What is it that you like to do? Whatever your skill is, whether you are a piano player, whether you're a speaker, whether you're a teacher, or whether you're an artist, whether you're a musician, doesn't matter. Whatever your skill is, that's where you need to focus. And you can, it's already here. Your assignment is there. However you wish, you disseminate and uncover and promulgate the teachings. That is the reason for the Theosophical Society. It says to promulgate the teachings, which means to transmit or broadcast or announce or publicize the sublime teachings of the archaic period. It does not mean to keep them inside of like an elite kind of a members only. It's not about that. It's about taking them out to the masses. And to me, when Blavatsky says dedicated to the few, to me, what that means is a few people are going to get it. Most won't. A few people will get it. It doesn't mean that only a few have access to these teachings. These teachings are a way to live. They're teaching us how to survive on planet Earth. They're incredibly important and they need to be broadcast. So what I do is, let me see if this is going to click over to this. My skill, if you want to call it that, is I'm a speaker, I'm a broadcaster, I'm a presenter. How can I serve these teachings? As Tim told you in the introduction, I have voiced these texts because I can voice things, but I also present them. And I think I'm just going to try, because the world of today, they're not in the lodges and libraries anymore. That was what it was when the Theosophical Society started. They're now on their phones. That's where everybody's at. They're on their phones or they're online. So let's go to where they're at and let's talk to them. Karma is the ultimate law of the universe, one of equilibrium and balance, of cause and effect. Though not as simple as tit for tat or this for that, there are a multitude of facets involved. Thank you for your comment, spiritual villain. In my understanding and experience, the quote from Sir Edwin Arnold in reference to karma was helping to explain that no matter our status in the physical world, which is so very transitory, whether slave or king, it is our character, our thoughts, our actions and reactions that truly shape our soul. We are here on earth to learn, and sages through the ages have advised us, do unto others, or as you sow, so shall you reap. Karma is not punishment nor reward, but balance. You are the one who suffers from your wrongs and benefits from your rights. There's no judge or jury. It's you, through experience, who comes to finally understand everything that you have caused another living being to experience, whether good or bad, through thought and deed, will be experienced by you from their perspective, and not necessarily in this lifetime. No one gets away with anything. It is the ultimate peacekeeper if we would only understand. The heart of karma is love. Yes, it is. And what I do with these, I'm thinking I'm really putting myself out there. I get a lot of flack. I got a lot of flack from the religious people, and they come in, but I just try. I'm just trying the only thing I can. And there's like 24,000 of them over there on TikTok. That's not that many. But the thing is, let's talk to them in the language that they speak, which is digital communication, content creating. I know this isn't as exciting as the TikTok dances, but I just try. I'm just trying to see if I can get it out there, and other people will find this stuff and they will have life-changing experiences, and peace and happiness is possible. And we just have a responsibility. So that's what we're trying. That's how I try. Whatever it is that is your skill, that's how you can try to help promulgate and share the ancient wisdom from your experience in your application and from your understanding of them. You really can't do it a wrong way. There's no way to do it wrong. So try, if we all genuinely try without fear of failure, and believe me, there's been a lot of failures, a ton in my own personal journey, but I have to get back up and I keep trying because I can't not try. I feel this crushing call of compassion. If we all genuinely try without fear of failure, as failure is merely a way of learning, then we can discover who we truly are. Man, know thyself, that all beings and everything are essential, unique, connected pieces of the divine absolute. That's true. That's why we need to try. And so here we come again. Why do we try? And what do we try? And how do we try? Again, the powerful words of the voice of the silence. Hast thou attuned thy being to humanity's great pain, O candidate for light? If so, can there be bliss when all that lives must suffer? Shalt thou be saved, you? And hear the whole world cry. Well, if I was to boil theosophy down to one word, it would be compassion. Compassion. That's it. It's just compassion. To me, that's my understanding. She says here, compassion is no attribute. It is the law of laws, of eternal harmony, Elias self, a shoreless universal, hang on one second, a universal essence, the light of everlasting right and fitness of all things, and the law of love eternal. That's why we try. And I appreciate you listening to me today. Thank you.